Now, yesterday, a landmark court challenge over delayed birth registrations put the spotlight on the rights of thousands of South African children. In the Western Cape High Court, the Children's Institute at the University of Cape Town and a group of parents took on Home Affairs, arguing that lengthy delays in issuing of birth certificates has left many children unable to access essential services such as education, healthcare, and even social grants. To unpack that case and its implications, we're joined by research assistant at the Children's Institute, UCT, Amanda Mpedi. Amanda, thank you so much for the time. A very, I think, a difficult case overall here, because it wasn't so long ago, actually, just last week, we were highlighting a case of a young girl who is now looking to go into university and still no form of identification, no form of birth certificate either. And I mean, this really just explains and talks to us about the weaknesses, I suppose, in our Home Affairs systems. Won't you just reveal to us and share just this entire discrepancy and how you guys saw it?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Arabile. And you're quite correct. When people don't have documentation issues, they get stuck in the system and there's no way for them to further on their lives, just as that story that you're illustrating. So the basis of our legal action with the Department of Home Affairs, as the Children's Institute, we are representing a number of clients, approximately 15 children and 2 adults who had documentation issues. They had lodged their birth registration applications at the Department of Home Affairs, and it was due to the delay in Home Affairs' processing their birth registration applications. It had taken between 2 and 7 years. Our clients were waiting for the processing of the applications. So as the Children's Institute, together with the Legal Resources Center, we approached the court to seek relief for our clients, and also a systemic relief which requires the Department of Home Affairs to address the issues relating to the backlog of these late registration of birth applications.
Did Home Affairs provide significant reasoning behind why it is that they're so delayed when it comes to these registrations?
Well, from the department side, they put the emphasis on early registration of birth. So the process of late registration of birth is an alternative process that occurs when parents approach the department after 30 days of the child's birth. And this process is different from the normal birth certificate application, which is issued and done instantly because it's a digital application. The late registration of birth application is a paper-based system, and this is what causes the delay in issuing these certificates. From the department side, they put the emphasis and the blame on the parents. The mandate lies with them, but according to them, they can't do anything until the parent comes to the office. So they really do blame the parents for these delays. However, they ignore the systemic issues and the other issues that prevent parents from approaching Home Affairs offices within 30 days of birth.
Yeah, and it just feels as though that these delays just take so much time, and it can go up until, like the case we showed just last week, 18 years of age. I mean, what's the longest cases you've had to deal with?
Yes, so it doesn't only affect children when they are minors. We have clients who are people in their mid-50s who have children of their own who they are unable to register those children's births. So we have families who are experiencing generational levels of systemic discrimination because of documentation issues. The lack of an identity document really blocks clients, and it puts them in a situation where they cannot move on further with it. They're excluded from all services. Yes, so it's a limitless, timeless period that affects people from the moment of birth. When the department does not issue these birth certificates, it really puts people in a negative situation. It's an unconstitutional state of affairs.
Yeah, Does it feel like this crisis, the fault of poor planning, leadership, funding, etc., at Home Affairs primarily, some outdated systems at play, deliberate neglect, possibly even? What would you say?
There are a myriad of factors. We don't believe that there's only one single issue or one factor that causes this backlog problem. But what we are seeing is that even though our laws provide for all of these rights, there's a failure in the implementation architecture. People do not have access to their rights, and we cannot pinpoint to one specific problem. However, we do see that the fragmented implementation of services does lead to people not getting their rights. So Home Affairs and other departments within government, the fact that they're not communicating with each other and using these outdated systems, and because the late registration of birth system is paper-based and not digital, and we are in this digital age, we're moving towards this digital transformation. So all these myriad of factors contribute to this delay.
Have you been given any kind of solutions, any kind of factor that suggests that actually this will be resolved very soon, or has it just been a case of we shall see?
What we've seen from our legal action and the response from the department is they are not really willing to engage. And this suggests that perhaps they're not aware of the gravity of the situation and how severe it is. The department emphasizes that the backlog has been dealt with and it has been reduced. However, the experiences of our clients and what we're seeing on the ground is contrary to that. So we cannot reconcile the department's stance that there is no problem with our clients' experiences. So our view is that perhaps the Department of Home Affairs is not aware of how big this issue actually is, which is why we are asking the court to compel the department to diagnose the issue that relates to these backlogs and come up with a plan to address these issues.
I'm going to be very harsh in my summation here, if you'll allow me, Amanda. But if Home Affairs is unaware of this situation and scenario, it possibly then would be very ignorant of them, because clearly it has been highlighted for many years, if not decades, just how slow this process is. But fighting the good fight, and really appreciate you sharing just where you are in this process. And we'll certainly be catching up on this as well along the way. Amanda Mpedi, Research Assistant at the Children's Institute at UCT. Still to come, we'll bring you the latest from the world of sport as we close out AM Report in just a moment. Of course, Bafana Bafana still the focal point.